Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and here I'm with Chad. Chad, introduce yourself to the people of the internet.
Hi, I'm Chad.
I assumed that's exactly
Hello,
what you were going
internet.
to do. We are here today doing a Come Drink With Me, which is something I started on my channel way back when I started my channel, and haven't done for a very long time because it's hard to convince people to sit on camera and drink with me. Drink with me! Totally fine.
Yeah.
Do it on camera. What? Why? Chad is also used to being on the other side of the camera, so it just makes me feel really happy that you're over here. I'm gonna watch back this footage and be like, look how adorably awkward he is. I love it. From the title of this video, you've probably figured out that we're gonna talk about science fiction, which is very funny because we're both wearing fantasy shirts, but that's fine. We're gonna talk about sci-fi. I'm not coming here, disclaimer, I'm not coming here and saying Chad is an expert in this subject. I just know that he likes to read this
I know
genre.
space.
Yes.
Yes.
You definitely know space. What do you do for a living, Chad?
I edit space videos.
Yeah, you do.
Check out Fraser's channel here.
Yeah, I'm gonna link it down below. I was already planning to do that, because you don't have anything of your own to, like, plug, so I'm like, besides the fact that you work on them.
Yeah, nothing recent enough anyways that I'd want to be shared on YouTube. Oh, that was from 8 years ago on my own channel? No.
Yeah, I'm one of your 5 subscribers. It's great. I want to talk about sci-fi with you because I know that you've read a bunch and you've read a lot of older sci-fi than I have, so I just want you to, like, start talking about some sci-fi. Go. And then I'll interrupt with questions.
Okay. Like, what's the oldest sci-fi you've read then?
I haven't really read any of, like, classic sci-fi whatsoever. Like, Frankenstein is the oldest sci-fi I've read, but, like, that is oldest by, like, many years.
That's like, yeah.
Yeah.
What about, like, Philip K. Dick?
I actually haven't read any of his. I've
Ooh.
meant to. I know.
Ooh.
I know it's a problem. Like, I've watched Blade Runner, but that's about as close. And
That's not even... That's based off of Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was a completely different thing. Similarities, like with the replicants.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. As far as I can remember, there was, like, it was replicant adjacent. If not, there was somebody in there that was possibly a replicant. But yeah, I've maybe read that twice, and I've watched the Blade Runner, both of the Blade Runner movies, at least a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm actually way more used to those than what actually goes on in the book. But that kind of happens. I've read things like Arthur C. Clarke, which I'm blanking on names.
That's okay. I've definitely heard of that author before, but again, have not read.
Yeah, I've read Asimov. Can't remember what the fuck it was. I can't remember what it was.
It's fine, you can swear on my channel, I don't fucking care. This channel is not for children.
Asimov, yeah, I've read Asimov. Don't remember which ones I've read of Asimov's. The Foundation series, which was neat. It was about somebody figuring out what would happen in the future based off of math. And then there was this evil person called the Mule and just went around messing stuff up.
What is it about sci-fi that you're drawn to?
Well, basically, my problem is I switch between sci-fi and fantasy so often, and one then turns into a palate cleanser from the other. It's mostly just either getting out of, like, oh, look, there's spaceships, to, oh, look, wizards and magic and stuff. So it's all different aspects of the same escapism thing, and, like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if this happened? But sci-fi in that respect is stuff that is kind of in the realm of possibility, sometimes. When they're not talking about, like, you know, faster than light travel. The Expanse, which I haven't read, but I need to, apparently deals with all that stuff very well. You know, we've watched the Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But we keep pausing it to talk about space physics.
It's like, oh, that's why those things went that way, and oh yeah, they just have to spin up the drum to get centripetal force going, to get...
So they can have gravity. It's really handy, actually, to watch The Expanse with somebody who knows about space stuff, because then he answers your questions and it's wonderful. So it's the escapism that draws you to it. Do you find it hard to escape when you're reading something that's contemporary?
I don't really like contemporary stuff.
And is that why, or is it a different reason?
Yeah, no, that's totally why. That's totally why, it's because I don't read a lot of it. I bought a Italian book, the sequel to Tuscan Sun, Under Tuscan Sun. So it's basically about gardening and living in Italy, which I bought that book, read it, enjoyed the hell of it, and then bought the first one. That I can escape with, and that's fine.
Is that because it's set somewhere else and that feeds to, like, your adventure?
Oh, no. It's because when I grew up, my uncle was reading a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, and so I read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy because those were the books available. We didn't really live too close to a library, so it was like, you read what you got.
Yeah.
Which is also why, you know, Stephen King.
Yes. Definitely a lot of Stephen
Lots
King.
of Stephen King.
So much Stephen King. Are there any other genres that you haven't really touched on that you'd be interested in, like, trying to see if you enjoy?
I don't know. I'd have to give them a shot. I tried some some biography books.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get through it. Elon Musk, because, space. Imagine that. But yeah, I haven't, I dropped it like maybe halfway through, and that was ages ago. Never picked it back up again. But I could, and that was kind of interesting just to learn the history of stuff around how he started, what he was doing other than the SpaceX and all that. So it is interesting. It's just something I've got to get more interested in reading.
Basically, it seems like you need to find somebody you're even more interested in reading about than Elon, or maybe just a better writing style. I haven't read that one.
That totally could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a matter of actively trying to branch out, because it's really easy to flip-flop back and forth between sci-fi and fantasy. Mm-hmm. But now I've read all the ones that I wanted to read a few times now, so that kind of prompted me to branch out. What
are a couple of your favorite sci-fi books, and why?
Got some there.
Or any of them favorites. You don't have to say this is my absolute favorite, because I hate that question.
Neil Stephenson did a neat one called The Peripheral, where it was kind of parallel universes, but with communication between them. So no traveling, it was just transmitting information.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
Have you read anything by Stephenson?
I haven't yet.
What were the ones you read?
Well, we've both read All Our Wrong Todays.
All Our Wrong Tomorrows?
Sorry. Oh. All Our Wrong Days of the Week. All Our Wrong Lives.
The one where it was like shit.
Yeah, chapter 56 is my favorite chapter, yes. Especially on audiobook.
Right.
And it's read by the author, and he's wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great.
I feel like you enjoy the timey-wimey type of things, because we've watched a lot of timey-wimey content over the years, so...
Oh man, Primer.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all.
No, it was all messed up. Yeah. Primer. You haven't watched Triangle yet?
No.
Okay, I watched it with Ross, and Ross's brain just exploded. Yeah, the time travel ones I'm really interested in. Just because it's probably because I grew up watching Back to the Future movies.
Exactly.
Which is
that was a lot of my childhood, those on VHS. And the box had a making of VHS as well, which was cool. Yes.
Yep. Ben Elton's Time and Time Again was interesting as well. It was another time travel one where they, go back and try to stop a world war because, hey, why not? It's fun. The writing style and how the author describes things, basically the protagonist is Basically the protagonist is a bag of dicks. He's not a very good person, and it comes out as it's being written about, so it's hard to decide if it's the author not being a nice person, using it to justify being able to write a specific way, or if it's because you're not supposed to like the character.
The character, okay.
I
mean that is interesting, because sometimes I will read characters that I'm like, oh, these people are terrible, and then if it's challenged, I'm fine with it. I'm okay with a main character that I hate, but it depends on so many parts of context.
Yeah, there's just so many terrible people in that book. But that was also the same problem with The Man in the High Castle, which we just watched an episode on.
I've seen the first episode.
Video's not sponsored by Prime, by the way.
It's not. No. Don't spoil the rest of the series for me, but go.
Anyways, Man in the High Castle, the TV series, basically takes the same characters, the same names, it's kind of the same relationships, and just expands on that world. But in the book, basically all the characters are assholes for their own unique reasons. And I think part of the reason for that is you can understand their internal monologue, whereas in the show, you don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, it's not a type of show that does
They're not good people.
Yeah, they're not
Everyone is awful.
Well, spoilers.
Yeah, anyways. But that's not what they're like in the show. As the show progresses,
I thought you were saying in the show they're not all good people.
In the show they're fine. They're great. Everybody's whatever. But well, I mean, besides the Nazis.
Well, yeah, there's that.
So with Neil Stephenson, there's the book Seven Eves. Basically, this isn't a spoiler because it's the first sentence. The moon explodes.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Havoc ensues, and then oh wait, no, I don't know how to talk about books without spoiling them.
Welcome to my world. I imagine the tides get messed up, and that's as far as the space knowledge I have.
Basically what happens is the moon explodes, it turns into a large chunk, those chunks collide together because, whatever. Turns into a ring, ring falls down, Earth is screwed. And then it picks up like several hundred years later, and then the various factions and groups that manage to somehow survive. Yeah, at the start, there's a big break, and then it's like, oh yeah, like one, maybe two factions have survived, and then it's like, oh yeah, the last 3 chapters or so, it's like everybody else shows up at the party. And it just seems like a cop-out, but it's like, oh, those people survive, and those people survive? It's like, well, okay, but there's no sequel. Okay. So it's like, why not bring them back a lot sooner?
With that in mind, what are some of your favorite and some of your most detested things, like tropes in sci-fi? Or things that just happen a lot that like you are like, oh, I remember this happening in a previous book, or like common ones that you've noticed even.
Everything goes horribly wrong. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's pretty much
usually
most
things
of
just
sci-fi.
just goes horribly wrong. The Long Earth went way too long, and it felt like it was all the same. There was about 5 books in the series.
Okay.
And it just kind of sort of progressed. It would have been better if it felt to me it would have been better if it was shorter, because yeah, they all just blended together.
Is Pratchett's sci-fi funny in the way that his fantasy is funny?
Oh right, that's Pratchett. Shit. Yeah, no, it's not no. So I'm not sure what.
That's weird.
Like I can't remember. I can remember laughing out loud in a restaurant to Discworld, which is Pratchett.
Yeah.
I can't remember that with that one.
Yeah, I've read a few of his fantasies, and like one of the big things is they're funny.
Yeah.
So I think that when I've always been shelving those in the library because science fiction and fantasy are in the same section, I've always just assumed that they were fantasy.
Yeah.
But they're not.
But I can't.
And they're not funny. That's weird.
I can't think. They're quirky, is what it amounts to, which is where Terry Pratchett excelled at was the quirkiness. Yeah, but I don't know if it's particularly. If they're particularly fun, they're interesting. And there's some strange gotchas in there. The machines are powered by potatoes.
Perfect.
Because why not? So I mean, that might have been a Pratchett thing. Like I'm fully expecting that was a Pratchett thing. I've never read anything by Stephen Baxter.
Okay.
So I've got no idea how to separate them. But I'm assuming Stephen Baxter was all the sci-fi side of it. A lot of the sci-fi has to do with look, there's aliens, and that's like most of it. And usually they're not good aliens, or they're fine aliens, but humans still want to kill them because humans are humans.
Humans suck.
There's the ones that Fraser talks about a lot. Oh, there's a spaceship going around. His name is Bob, and then he just makes more Bobs, and there's Bobs everywhere.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Unless Bob's an asshole.
No, I think he was fine. Yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of sci-fi I still need to read.
Oh yeah.
And I've got to get out of the habit of reading the same ones that I always do, which is I loop back to like Altered Carbon and stuff like that. Oh, I've forgotten the names of every book I've ever read now.
Welcome to BookTube. That happens every time I shoot a video.
Yeah, sometimes I'll learn things from the books, like Ben Bova's Titan, where I learned that there was these hydrocarbons falling in Titan's atmosphere, which is Moon of Saturn. But yeah, there's things like that where they actually have a basis in actuality, which is a really interesting part of sci-fi for me, when it's actually mixed in with fact enough that you can get information from. Unlike sometimes where it'll be mixed in with fact enough that you think it's a fact, but it's not a fact, and then you'll go on believing something incorrectly for the rest of your life until something corrects you. Did you end up reading that?
Which one?
Peripheral.
No, I have not.
I think I have it. I don't think I threw it away. If I threw it away, I might put it in the recycle bin.
Have I already told you to read Becky Chambers?
Is it an author or a book?
Sorry, that's an author, so I'm guessing no.
No.
In specific, the first book in her series is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is about this ship that goes through space, basically punching a highway into space.
Okay.
I think that you might enjoy it. It has a bunch of different characters. It's kind of like a found family Firefly.
For God's sakes, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, of course.
Well, yeah, of course.
Sorry, yeah, no.
Yeah.
That
no,
goes
I've
without saying.
definitely read those. Yeah.
Yeah, or the old radio play. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. It's great. I used to listen to that and fall asleep, but it's wonderful. Yeah. It's of course it's slightly different than the books because they started recording it. I think it was shortly after the first book came out or the second book came out, so they were going off script and they had to start figuring out how things worked out, and it basically just all the threads kind of collapsed and they had to kind of figure out their own endings and stuff. Just the way it worked. So yeah. I'm guessing kind of like Game of Thrones.
I would say pour one out for Game of Thrones, but this is carpet, so no, don't do that. And wine, don't do it. Drink that.
Man, I'm still waiting for that what, After Dance with Dragons?
It's something with winter in the title, I don't remember. So that's it for this video. If you've read any of these books or if you have any recommendations of sci-fi books, let us know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to let me know that you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your keyboard. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye! I did that one take.
Nice. Is that not normal?
No.